It's Tuesday. It's 9:45. You know what time it is. It's Ashmatic's news and views and tactics. And the game was only yesterday. Welcome to South View Quiz TV. It's right, Ashmatic. First of all, forgetting the game. Are you all right? Are you good, my brother?
No, good, man. I'm blessed, man. Up and down, feverish, but it can't hold me down for long. I'm back. I'm strong, and I'm feeling blessed. How are you, bro?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Good to hear.
When you saw that game yesterday, did you think, how the hell are we gonna do this show?
I was watching that. I was thinking, oh my, so much to unpack, so much to get through, and like it was like two halves and some.
Some. But it's not about us. It's about our guests. Should we bring them out?
Yeah, let's bring them out.
Let's have a good welcome to Dermatron and Carl. Dermatron, are you well?
I am grand. I'm still recovering after yesterday. I mean, that was just mental, that game. I've never seen a game like it. But yeah, I'm doing well, guys, and thanks for having me on. Absolute pleasure to be on here, and it's an honor as well. So thank you very much.
Carl, hope you are well. Are you good?
I'm very good. I'm all good. I've recovered after yesterday, that's for sure. But yeah, I'm all good, brother. Ready to talk Tottenham.
Look, we've all had 24 hours, right? We probably, after last night, all went to bed. Some will be mad. Some will be like, oh my God, that was great. It was all over the place. It wasn't one of them games to be going, oh my God. And as for a neutral, it was probably one of the Premier League games of the season so far. We'll have to be completely honest. But for Spurs and Chelsea fans, it must have been highs, lows, and everything in between. So let's get into it. Ash, where do you want to start, my brother?
I don't know. I think we should start with the first 15 minutes or 20 minutes, debatable. I think we started off fast and furious. Notoriously, we don't really start off quite as quick as we did. And as you can see in that little first clip, some people was arguing, is Son onside? Is he offside? The point is, he's on the shoulder and he's looking to get in behind. And Kulusevski knows that. And the way they were on the same wavelength was impressive from early on. We were able to hurt Chelsea, disrupt them. They came with a game plan. We said, no, we got the fans behind us. We've got the momentum. We've got the energy. And I thought time and time, we were just breaking lines. We're getting in behind. And that clip right there with Maddison, this was the first goal. I thought was quite interesting because Maddison drops into kind of like a Dogi's role, like as a left wing back. And that's where he finds the space. Before that, he was in the pocket. So he was in like the middle of the pitch, trying to receive the ball in between the lines, higher up the pitch. But for that particular goal, he kind of drops to the left-hand side, picks the ball up, switches the play. It's a lovely ball into Sarr. And it's a lovely way to pass to find him. Sarr's in the central position. He finds Kulusevski on the run, running on that shoulder again, on the blind side of Colwill. Colwill couldn't find him, didn't know where to pick him up. And then from there, Kulu comes inside, and you know what happens next, man. You know what happens next. He literally hits it, gets a deflection of Colwill. Colwill's actually rattled at this point. He doesn't know where he is, what his name is, what his last name is, or his middle name. All he knows is it's in the back of the net, and the fans are going crazy. That's how we start a game, and that's what the fans have been calling for. The first 5 minutes, we wanted us to start on the front foot. We want us to be high energy, and we definitely got that with the players, man. And yeah, I just thought Brennan Johnson, to give him a quick mention, I thought he was like our outball at times. Him hugging that left-hand side, we were able to kind of fling the ball into him. He's able to run up the defenders. And Maddison and him took turns and hugging that wing and just causing terror on that side. And I thought also, as a team, I thought we were doing quick, fast, slick, and incisive passes, which helped to kind of break through the lines at times because Chelsea would try to suck into us, try to press us, try to win the ball back. But when we did those quick, fast passes and then we switched to play, they couldn't contain it. And as a result of it, Johnson was free on one side, puts the ball into Son. Son hits the back of the net, but unfortunately it was offside. Some people might debate and say, look, he was onside. So I don't know. But yeah, I think the first 15 minutes, I thought we just beat their press and we were all over them.
Carl, I'll come to you next. First 15 minutes, you were watching that game. How impressed? Well, I'm putting a question out there. Like, I'm assuming you were impressed with that first 15 minutes. How did you take it in?
Bro, I was loving what I was seeing, you know. I just couldn't believe it. Like, I knew he was gonna start fast, but that was unbelievably fast. Like, that was fast and furious. Like I said, out the blocks, really fast, onto them. Notoriously, we don't, you know, we're normally slow starters, and I've always said about Spurs, I can tell the way the game's gonna go, judging by our start, you know, like years gone by. You know, and the way we started that now, I was so gassed, man. Seriously, that the first 15. Do you know what? I rewatched the game earlier. Well, the first half, you know, just to get a sense of how we played. And yeah, and obviously, you know, I know we're gonna get onto it and in the sense of where the game started to unravel, but literally the first 17 minutes before Udogie made that tackle, amazing. If Son's goal stood, oh my god, literally that the roof was going off. I'm sure I wasn't even at the game, but I could hear. And if that goal stood, oh my god, I think it would have been a rout, an absolute rout. It's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate the way things panned out, of course. But no, I was really happy with the first 15. Intense, you know, high pressure, playing through the lines, like I said. No, it was brilliant. Brilliant to see.
Dermatron,
Yes.
like first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Was that the first time we can officially say that we've seen Ange Ball at its pinnacle? Like, if we look at every other game, we've never, well, personally, I don't think we've played like that in any game. And that first 15 minutes, we just seemed to, Chelsea just had no answers. Yeah. And I think a lot of us were quite surprised at how quickly we started.
Look, the first 15 minutes was out of this world. It was, if you want to know anything about Ange Postecoglou, just watch 15 minutes of that game. That's Ange Postecoglou in a nutshell. The way we pressed them, it was like a modern version of push and run of the 50s and 60s. That's the only way I can describe it. The interchange and getting into spaces, you Destiny and, you know, and Kulu bombing down them wings, a bit like Tony Galvin and plays at the pass and David Ginola. You had Sonny in the middle, a little bit like Gary Lineker there, or trying to get the goal. And it was...
To our younger users, Google those names.
Yeah, you know, by the grey hair, I'm quite old. But look, it reminded me very much of the Keith Berkinger 80 side that last night. It was like everyone was in it together. Fans, players were all one. And then 15 minutes was the best football I've seen in a long time at White Hart Lane. Absolutely the best. And look, Carl's right, if the second goal went in, and I do think that goal was onside. I don't think it was offside. And I think VAR were looking for any opportunity to take it offside, to be fair. But if we went 2-0 up, that game was dead and buried. But then, as we know, it unravelled. And look, I'm still proud of the players, though. I'm very proud of them. But then 15 minutes, that is Ange Postecoglou in a nutshell. And we love him at Spurs. And I hope he stays here for a long time after that.
No, of course. Ash, you're on mute, by the way. Rookie mistake. How long you been doing this? So, Ash, come on. So, as Cole said, as Dermot said, great 15 minutes. Ange Ball fully in flow. And then this happens. Okay?
Mad.
This happens. So,
mad. You know what? When I watched it, sorry to cut you, bro. When I watched it, I was like, great challenge, because he anticipates, like, obviously he was playing the ball and he got the ball, but it's the way he got the ball, which was deemed to be dangerous. And I think that's what it is, because both of his feet are off the floor. It's crazy. You can't.
As you see in the second picture here, you can see both feet off the floor.
Mad.
Possibly out of control.
Mad, yeah. So, like, listen, 20 years ago, that would be cool, but modern day
just
like, yeah, back in the day, you could get away with that. Vinnie Jones, can't you remember Cantona, them man? Roy Keane wouldn't live in this era. I'm telling you, Roy Keane wouldn't be able to move around. But you see, Doggy, right now, I said, look, he wasn't from that era, so he should know better. I don't know what he was thinking. But he actually was like, oh, I got the ball. Like he was proper upset afterwards. And I was like, bro, no. But yeah, when I first saw it, I was like, yes, he won that challenge. He was front-footed. He was assertive. He saw it coming. And like Sterling was sleeping, blah, blah, blah. But then like Sterling, when I saw the replay, I was like, thank goodness he got out of the way, because if he was not looking and he wasn't
Like
having
here,
his
yeah.
career ending. Look at the feet. Are you mad? Oh, that is crazy, bro. I can't. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Hold on, before you carry on though, right? Just want to ask you one quick question. What's the difference between this and Curtis Jones?
I know Curtis Jones. I should have brought the image back up. Curtis Jones, from what I remember, he had the foot on the ball and he rolled over it. He had this foot on the ball and his foot rolled over the ball and then he contacted the guy, if that makes sense. Yeah. Whereas the doggy, 2-footed, he didn't touch Sterling at all. Do you understand? He just got 2 feet and he actually got the ball. Whereas Curtis Jones he was looking at the ball, obviously. He wasn't looking at the player. His foot rolls over the ball and then contacts and then takes out my man. But I don't think, looking back at it, that Curtis Jones, I'm not sure if that was a red. I'll be real.
So Curtis Jones, right? I'm just gonna, and before I get to Carl and Dermotron, so Curtis Jones was sent off for endangering a player. That's the reason why he was sent off.
That's right.
Is your doggy not doing the same thing here?
No, he is. He could have got a red for that. 100%. 100%.
Do you think the refs have missed it then? Do you think he should have gone for this? Or
yeah, no, you know what? If he went for it, I wouldn't have been mad, because I'm like, when I first saw it, like I said, right, like he was in very assertive, front-footed. He saw the danger before it came. Sterling wasn't awake, and he looked like he just got there before him. That's what I saw. But then when I saw 2 feet on the replay, and when you slow these things down, it looks a lot worse, of course. But again, you could say the same about Curtis Jones. You could have the same argument. Do you know what I mean? And so for me, like, fair is fair. You know, obviously he gets his just comments afterwards anyway. So it all kind of works out in Liverpool's favor. If you want to say that, if you want to go like, right, Liverpool, you know, they were hard done by blah, blah, blah. He goes off anyway. So,
Carl, you obviously mentioned it and you said everything was going fine until this moment. What was going through your doggy's mind? Why all of a sudden?
That's a great question.
We've not seen it from him before. Like, there was literally a 15-minute spell against Arsenal where he was a bit sketchy against Saka, but he calmed himself down and he got himself back into the game. But what was the difference yesterday?
Do you know what I think? I think it all sort of aligned with the same energy we were talking about in the first 15 minutes. The players were probably, I'm not saying too amped, but certain players, obviously Romero and Adoji, were probably a bit too amped, in my opinion. You know, obviously Ange got all the players sort of, you know, riled up. Derby, big game, you know, and I think he just, emotions probably just got the better of him. He's young, he's 20, I get it. But listen, that was reckless. He could have gone. Obviously, I was watching it live on Sky and I was hearing Gary Neville sort of talking the tackle up, saying, oh, it's a naughty one, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, before I saw the replay, I thought, what are you talking about? And then I saw it and I'm like, oof, yeah, it's dangerous. And the fact that Sterling got out of the way, obviously he's done himself. He's not only done himself favours, he's done Udogie favours there, because, you know, Udogie could have gone off with a straight red there and that would have been a free game ban. You know, so yeah, no, it was reckless. He didn't have to dive in like that at all. He didn't, you know. He could have just sort of slid in, you know, gone with his, you know, natural left foot, kept his right foot planted, and won the ball just as easy. It wasn't a hard ball to win, so I really don't understand why he done that. So it's inexplicable what he did, to be honest. And yeah, the whole game changed from there. It was clear to see. I watched it back, as I said, and you could see the dynamics of the game. Chelsea just got, you know, fired up. It was a bit like, you remember last season when I think it was obviously Arsenal against Liverpool and Xhaka got the crowd rattled up. It was a bit like that. Obviously, I know, obviously it happened to the sort of, you know, a home team then, and we was the home team now. But yeah, that changed the game for me. That changed the game.
Dermotron, you're in the same thoughts as everybody else. So you've seen the pictures there, and I've used Curtis Jones. And the only reason why
Oh, he's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So anyway, look, I'm
We're back.
Look, we're back. Sorry, I don't even know
We're
what happened there. But yeah, as I was saying, I'll use Curtis Jones as an example because obviously of the way that inflicted and ended up being for Liverpool.
Yeah.
How did you see it?
I actually have to disagree with you three. Actually, I think the referee could have warned him. I think it was a good tackle. I've seen worse tackles in the Premier League this season than last season, and people have got away with it. You look at the tackle that was made on Vicario on the North London derby. I forget who went into him, but nearly broke his leg if he had connected. I think the referee should have took him. Yeah, that's it. I think the referee should have took Destiny to one side, just talk to him, bring Son in as captain. Look, calm your player down. This is a London derby, and then we'll give him a warning. If he does it again, he's going in the book, and then he will go off. I think that's what the referee should have done. I think the referee lost control of that game very early last night. And I think that's when players sort of take liberties, and that's when the game sort of spiraled out of control a little bit, I think. But look, I understand where people are coming from. It could have been a red, but I've seen worse tackles this season. And I think he got the ball. And I think Ash is right. Sterling did get out of the way. If he did connect it would have been a bad tackle. But because he didn't get him, and because he moved out of the way and he did get the ball, I think the referee should have warned him and bring Son over as captain and just try to calm him down. He is a young lad. And I just think that's how it should have been dealt with. But I think once he got booked, I think that changed his mentality. And I think it fired Chelsea up. And then we went quiet after we scored. And I think it just changed the game on its head. I think the referee could have dealt with it differently. But he was standing, if you look at that picture again, the referee is standing right behind that tackle. So he's got a clear line view of what Destiny's doing. So he really didn't need VAR to get involved. He should have dealt with himself there and then. And look, that's my opinion. Look, I understand where you guys are coming from, and I agree, but I see it a little bit differently.
Do you think a player needs to be like injured before the referee steps in? Because if he does connect with him and he doesn't get out of the way, he could actually like fracture his leg or break his leg.
I understand that, but if you look like at the North London derby, did the referee talk to Nenteka when he went in at Vicario? Nothing was said. If you look at the Curtis Jones, look, I think that was a yellow card. I don't think it was a sending off personally myself. But it's a London derby. It's going to be fierce. It's going to be high tempo. It's going to be players are going to go thudding in on each other. It's what a London derby is about. But I think the referee has the responsibility to step in very quickly after the first challenge, either give out a yellow card or bring both captains together and tell your players to calm it down, or somebody will be going off. And I think he lost control very early last night. But look, it was a tackle I've seen worse. Look, I've seen worse tackles than that, and players haven't even got booked. They've just walked away. Roy Keane, when he did Haaland, when Haaland did Roy Keane's knee in, I can't remember. I think nothing was done. Roy Keane, next game when he played and broke his leg.
Yeah.
And he got sent off for it, rightly so. But I think last night the referee could have nipped it in the bud very quickly. Calm down and it's a London derby.
Yeah.
It's going to be high tempo. It's going to be fast and furious. It's what a London derby's about.
And to be fair, actually, I didn't even notice the referee in that picture. And actually, I think you're absolutely spot on. If he had spoken to you, Dogie, that probably stops Romero. It probably stops everything else, and actually get Son to come over. I think you're absolutely spot on. Where Sterling has saved him, really. Sterling has saved him from getting sent off, I think, in this situation. And yes, he could have caught him and all that kind of jazz, but actually, you're right. It's a London derby for 18 minutes into the game, and the referee standing right there. You're right. He probably should have had a word with him. But with our refs, this is, it's always going to happen.
I know that. I understand. Look, I think the refereeing standing has dropped anyway this season. It's been atrocious, the refereeing standard this season. And it's frustrated all of us. But yeah, look, you need to let players play. I understand Ash saying 20 years ago. I can remember Julian Dix back in the day. He was a nutcase. I mean, he was a left back for West Ham. He was a total lunatic. Vinnie Jones as well. You can name a few, but referees then, if there was a London derby tackled, he talked to the player. Calm it down. Then I'm going to book you. But this is the referees now are sort of being ruled by VAR. They're waiting for VAR to tell them what to do, where a referee should use a bit of common sense and a little bit of. Well, I know refereeing common sense doesn't go together, but that's a shock. They should use a bit of the noodle and just say, "Hang on a minute, how do I take the steam out of this situation?" And I think if he did that, Destiny wouldn't have got sent off. Romero wouldn't have done what he done. And I think we would have gone on to get a second goal. But that, look, everyone's different opinions. And I'm probably looking at it from an older fan's point of view, where you guys are seeing it from a more younger view and a more up-to-date view, where mine's probably a bit old-fashioned and a little bit not up-to-date, if you know what I mean, with the way we see games. And that's just my opinion.
I have actually thinking about it, like, because of, I think because obviously we're thinking today's football, we're just expecting it. But actually, you're absolutely spot on, because, and I will repeat it, I did not see the referee in that picture. And actually, he has seen that full on. And usually, you're right, he should have used his common sense and had a word, right? Straight away. So completely agree. So just going on to the next picture, right? So 4 minutes later, only 4 minutes. So Dermotron said he should have had a word. And just before I carry on and get into the next picture, I want to know what everyone else's thoughts in the chat. Do you think Udogie should have been yellow carded or red? So that's the question for the chat. Just put red or yellow. That's I'd like to see what everyone's thoughts are. But 4 minutes later, Ash, this happens. So we're only 20 minutes into the game here, right? We're 25 minutes into the stream, and we're still speaking about. We're not even into this. We've spoken about the goal. You know, we're not even spoke about what's happened next. It's still 1-0. Don't know why the screenshot says 1-0, by the way. But
it was when Sterling's goal got disallowed.
Yes. So right, correct. So this happens 4 minutes later. What's going through your head?
I'm thinking 98. I'm thinking about Simeone. I'm looking at David Beckham. That's what's getting through my head. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you're an experienced pro, and the reason why you've been given that assistant captain role, the leadership role, is to kind of cut this type of stuff out. You don't play the occasion, you play the game. We really know about this. Like, this is all it is. And you're acting like this is your first season or your first London derby. You know what's at stake. You know, like, if you're sent off, because they're going to target you because of your previous experience, like what you've done in the past. They're going to, and even the Chelsea fans, the Chelsea players, they're going to get onto you for that, because they're thinking, I think we figured this one out. I think we can be able to get into his head. Do you know what I mean? So he's done a kick out, and then when he's kicked out, he's tried to jump on the floor like he's hurt as well. Like, drawing more attention to himself. I'm like, my brother, what are you doing?
Like there's no VAR.
No. You want to kind of just pretend that never happened. He's all dived on the floor pretending he's hurt as well. I just said, yeah, man, it's a wrap, man. It's a wrap. But fortunately for us, like, nothing happened. Like, I just don't know how, but yeah, the ref didn't really pull that one back. So, and like, I wish I was at the game and I just was able to get hold of him and just say, listen, this game here, just no. No.
Great question then. You've just said you wanted to get hold of him. Should the manager and the captain
definitely I thought this.
Do you think they should have stepped in?
I don't want to critique Son and I don't want to critique Ange, but there comes a point where if you see your player lashing out, have a word, man. Pull them aside. If you're a leader, that's what you do. You get hold of your players when things are going up and down, things are rocky, you know, things are about to change. As Carl was saying, the momentum's about to shift. Get hold of them, because for me, it's like you're losing focus, you're losing concentration, and they're looking for a way to get in, and you're that one. You're that person that they're going to latch onto. You're mature enough. You're responsible enough. You've experienced the AC Milan game, so you know at first hand how it feels to be sent off and how important it is. Sorry to bring back those painful memories, but he should know better, do better. But at that point, Sonny, you're the captain now. Have a word. Have a word. And then also, Ange, give him a look. Like, I don't know, do a little sign, something. I don't know. But yeah, someone needs to kind of rein them in my opinion.
Carl, was you expecting the red card to come out when you saw what Romero had done?
I can't lie, I was, but at the same time, I looked at it and I thought, it's petulant. It's not really violent conduct. Like he's not like, it's not like he's sort of pulled his leg back and properly whacked him. He's just sort of kicked out petulantly. And you know what sort of got to me as well was the fact that he's kicked Colwill. It had nothing to do with Colwill. You know, his beef was with Thiago Silva, right? So I watched it back a few times and I'm like, what are you doing? But I tell you what, and it goes back to what Dermatron was saying before about the ref not grabbing the hold of the game, in a sense of Dermatron meant it in a sense of he sort of booked too early. I think personally he wasn't blowing up when he should have blown up. So for example, in that phase of play where Romero won the header and he's charged forward and he's barged Thiago Silva, right? That, all right, fair enough. That probably wasn't a foul. Thiago Silva's made a meal out of that, right? Then seconds later, seconds before this incident happened, Thiago Silva's then barged into the back of Romero. I'm sorry, but that's a foul. I know the ref's trying to let the play sort of, just play out, and obviously it's derby, let it flow. But it's things like that. And then what's happened after that? Romero didn't get the foul and he's kicked out, right? So the ref, again, as Dermatron said, did not do the game any favors. But I think he didn't blow enough. I think you need to sort of, nip them things in the bud. But yeah, listen, he lost his head. He lost his head. I don't know what was going through his head. Even the fact of, as I said before, when he headed the ball and he's charging forward, trying to close down Thiago Silva. What are you doing? We're 1-0 up. What are you doing? We're not chasing the game. Stay in your position. Because it's from that sequence of play where Reece James spun the ball, Sterling's in, Romero's nowhere to be seen. Luckily it was offside and Jackson scores and it's offside, fair enough. But yeah, he was back to his old tricks, Romero. And listen, let's be honest, he's been amazing this season. He's been immense, fantastic, probably behind Maddison, I would say, second best player of the season so far for us, right? But he's got it in him, and I don't know how you change him, because it is part of his makeup. As I said before, he was too rattled up. As you guys said, someone needed to have a stern word, and you could question Son's captain credentials, his leader credentials there, because it needed someone. I don't know who, someone like a Højbjerg, or do you know what I mean? Like someone to actually get a hold of him. And I just don't know if he had that around him yesterday.
Dermatron. So you obviously said the ref should have had a word with him first time.
Yeah.
Romero comes in. So Romero obviously does Romero things. And I feel like there's 2 games that he's now let us down in this season. Right? North London derby, he lost his head a little bit. And just kind of, he didn't get sent off, but the own goal and the penalty, his mind weren't in it. And Chelsea, it's just becoming a reoccurring thing with Romero, where the fans, in the big games that the fans want him to be rolled up in and want him to play and want him to be behind, actually, it's Romero's being too rolled up in these games and he's just doing silly things. This is a World Cup winner as well, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. On the Thiago Silva thing, what Carl's saying, Romero probably saw him because he's from Brazil. And then that was just a red flag to Romero. So he's going to knock him out of the way anyway. He probably just saw a Brazilian flag. Well, I say he's gone. And then with his kick out, he probably was watching the David Beckham documentary before he went out in the game. Probably had that in his head. I might try that tonight. No, look, all in seriousness, Romero is a great defender. He is Tottenham through and through. I love him to bits, but he is a liability sometimes. And last night it was him being a liability. I think you can't calm him down, because if you take that out of his game, you're taking the defender out of him. And this is the problem. He's a young lad still. And maybe with Ange, might get a bit of, maybe Ange will drum something into him during this 3-match ban now. and make him think, look, you can't do this. You can't do this on big games. You need to be more disciplined. And maybe give him the captaincy for a game. Maybe if he drops Son, give him the captaincy. Maybe that might calm him down a little bit. Give him extra responsibility to think of. The same was done with Maradona. Maradona, when he was younger, was like Romero, that Argentinian flair and that Argentinian passion, and he was getting sent off, and there's pictures of him fighting. Once they gave him the captaincy, it calmed him down, and then his talent sort of was there to all to see. Maybe for 1 or 2 games, give him the captaincy, calm him down a little bit. Maybe that might just give him that bit of extra responsibility to think, oh, hang on a minute. If I make that tackle, am I going to be sent off? Or if I make that decision, is that going to affect my teammates? At the moment, he hasn't got that extra responsibility. So that's my point. But I don't know how you do it. I really do not. I don't feel let down by Romero. I just feel disappointed. I think that's the only way I can describe it. I'm disappointed in him, but don't get us wrong. If he does that to an Arsenal player and gets away with it, we're all loving it. And if he does it to a Chelsea player, we're all loving it. It's when he gets sent off, we're thinking, oh, come on, Romero. Come on. A bit of cop on, lad. Come on. But maybe give him the captaincy for a few games if you're going to rest Sonny during the Asian Cup. And let's see, would that give him a bit of responsibility to focus him a bit more than what he is at the moment? But we would love him anyway. Would we change him for the world?
Well, this was going to be my question. My quick next question to all of you, because I heard it today and I was debating in my head, right? It said, right, would you change Romero and get rid of this out of him? Or would you, knowing that 8 games every season, he's going to miss due to suspension because this is the way he is, but knowing the fact he's going to play as the last, how many games we had now? 10, 9, right? But he's going to play like 30 games where he's going to be excellent and the way he's been all year. Would you accept that every season?
No, that's the thing. That's the thing. And when I saw it, I've been campaigning for Romero. I like to see someone that comes back after, a fall. I love the whole underdog story, the kind of Mighty Ducks kind of thing. That's my thing, Rocky, that's my thing. So when the fan base was turning against Romero, I wanted to double down and give him a hug. You see what I'm saying? But where he's been moving erratic, I can't. It's like an ex, they just keep repeating the same mistakes. And it's hard to kind of forgive because you've told him already. You said, look, if you do this and you keep doing this, I'm going to have to leave. And that's where I'm feeling with Romero at the moment. I'm feeling in that kind of purgatory moment. I'm not quite in heaven. I'm not quite in hell. I'm not on earth. I'm somewhere in the middle. And I'm like, listen, Romero, pattern up, man. Romero, I need you to be the guy I know you can be. I feel like I'm having a conversation with a shrink or something. But like, literally, Romero's got it in him where he could be the best centre back. Literally, as he's got sent off, Arsenal fans messaging me. I thought you said Romero over Gabriel. I thought you said Romero over Saliba. I was like, leave it, mate. Leave it. Like, allow me, innit? He's just putting he's putting shame on my name, like, you know what I'm saying? Not my name, but like the club's name. And I'm looking at it as you're throwing these pictures up, and I'm like, yes, his eyes were on the ball. And it's the whole, like you said, for me, this was more of the Curtis Jones incident because obviously he actually makes contact with the ball.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
And then he gets the man, do you know what I'm saying? And he follows through. And I think it's the dangerous play, what they're trying to sting him for, isn't it? They're saying, look, it's the reckless. You didn't need to follow through like that. But it's hard because when I don't know, like the studs up versus the studs going down, it's the way you're tackling. It's all debatable because for me, when you're doing a challenge, how can you stop that? How can you control your momentum? You're going for the ball. Sometimes you are going to get a bit of the man. It's how it is. That's how it like did they teach defenders to kind of cleanly win the ball without taking players out? It happens in the game. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's just the thing. Like I said before, it's the danger. You know what it is? Do you know what it is for me? Let me land real quick. You know what it is for me?
Yeah.
It's I think he got rattled personally. it all happened so fast, and I think that's the reason why he's done all of that, because he could have probably won that ball a little bit cleaner. But carry on, Marlon. Sorry, go on.
But Ash, look at the way he clears the ball, right? Just look at the way he clears the ball. He fully well knows the next bit, right? I've never, ever, I don't think I've ever seen in my life a defender clear the ball and the next part of their foot is doing that, right? The ball's gone completely that way, right? Defenders don't do, like, there's no, like, we don't see something like this very regular unless he intentionally goes through it. He even has time to not even do this. He has time to think, right? And considering he kicked out earlier, there's more to this. This is Romero. This is not someone who's not done it before. This has previous, right? So I don't understand anybody that thinks that this is not intentionally done by him. He's trying to leave something on him. It's an old rule of what they used to teach you back in the day. Because this is Romero. This is Romero, full stop.
Well, he's a reoffender. Oh man, he needs time out, bro. Seriously.
But but on a serious note, look at the way he clears the ball and then his foot goes like the way it does. I have to say, right, and somebody could probably show me pictures, right, or someone who else has done it, but I've never ever seen a defender clear the ball like he does and then have his foot in that position next. And that's the bit where I'm questioning whether he meant that. I think he meant to leave something on him. It's just how the impact he has on him. Maybe he wanted something slightly different. But after kicking out earlier, it's kind of, what's Romero trying to do? Carl, I'll bring you in on here. What's your, how do you feel about it? Are you with Ash, or are you with me, or are you with everybody else right now?
It's funny because when it first happened, I'm probably more with you. Like when it first happened, live time, I'm watching, I'm thinking, that's no way a pen, right? He's won the ball cleanly, by the way. He's actually got good contact on the ball.
Agreed.
But the more I saw it, Marlon, I thought, because Gary Neville said it, it's like, you know what you're doing there, because you know you're clearing that ball, right? There's no real reason, to keep your legs straight. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're clearing the ball, you're swinging. Do you know what I mean? Like, he could have swung his right foot in another direction, away from the shin of Enzo. Like, it did look a bit cynical, and that is Romero to a T. Romero is cynical. He's nasty. It's within his nature. But what really gets me is the fact that he would do that to his Argentinian compatriot, who he's just won the World Cup with. It's like he just doesn't care, does he? You know, so, oh, mate. Romero, what have you done, mate? But no, I don't know. In hindsight, the more I look at it, the more I can see why he got sent off. But at the time, I was quite annoyed. Fair enough, cool, penalty. Fair enough, yellow card. But sending off, at the time, I was thinking, really? But yeah, it's listen, it was a tough one. But yeah, even leading up to that, his head was gone. The whole sequence of play before that started, he actually had the ball, right? Tried to go for a long diag, right? Mishit it, right? Gave it a daisy cutter. They've cut it out. They're onto us. And he had a separate chance before he's done this silly tackle. He kind of miscontrolled the ball. I know it was, he was doing a bit of pinball in the box, but he was just all over the shop. It was like Bambi on ice. I just don't know. But yeah, listen, he needs a few games out just to realign and give his head a wobble, to be honest, because, yeah, he did let us down. I can't lie.
Dermot, convince me he didn't mean this. What's he doing? Come on, convince me.
Right.
You've convinced me on your doggy. You've convinced me completely on your doggy. I'm actually seeing your, actually now thinking about it, I do honestly think you were absolutely spot on, right? But this convinced me because the clearance and then the follow through, I don't see how they mix in any shape or form. Sorry.
If you were to give me a year, I don't think I could convince you on this one. I just don't think I could. The only thing he made contact with the ball, and I think it was the momentum of that brought him into the challenge. But when you look at it, Carl's right. When you look at it in fast, like a normal time, a yellow card and a penalty's harsh. Okay, fair enough. But when you look at the picture and you look at these legs straight and you look at the momentum, you're thinking, all right, I don't know if I can defend you here. But if VAR wasn't there, right, just for example, would the referee given the penalty? or card, he probably would have said, just carry on.
To be fair, he would have just given the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have preferred that.
Yes,
I think we all would have
done. But
at the same time now.
but what made me even laugh more, right, was when he got sent off, he refused to go. He was standing on the pitch like, I ain't going. And you could see Sonny say, you have to go. Nope, I ain't going. Nope. And even walking up, he's going to the fourth official, waving his hands, no sending off. And I'm thinking, look, Romero, we love you. You're one of our own. You're a tough nut, but just take responsibility. If Mia's watching this, just have a word with your man. Have a word with Romero for us. I think he shouldn't be allowed to go on international duty. I think Gan should keep him in Tottenham Hotspur away and just sit him on the naughty step for 2 days. There's your punishment. Do it again. You're sitting there.
Yeah, you're not playing with Messi.
You're not playing with Messi. No, not that. You ain't going. But look, we need hard men in the game. It's a contact sport.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get contacted. The day that the game becomes a non-contact sport, today football dies. And I think there has to be a certain amount of challenges should be given a bit of leeway. And for that, I think it was just momentum. I think he made a good tackle on the ball, and there was momentum of what happened just brought him forward. A bit like the Liverpool player, Curtis Jones, when he got sent off. It was more like the momentum of the challenge. But I don't think I've convinced you, Marlon. So I'm sorry about that.
I think you've made me feel even like more. It's definitely a red.
Yeah, I think I've had the opposite effect than what I should have done. But sorry.
Let me bring out. We've got another guest coming on as well, and hopefully she has been listening to what we've been saying and can answer this as well with Romero. Ellie, how are you?
How you doing?
Are you well?
Yeah, I'm really well. I was listening to what Dermot was saying with a lot of agreement as well, because it is a contact sport, right? Romero is full-blooded contact, isn't he? He'll go in for it. I don't know. Do you know what? I saw it a couple of times, right? And I thought at first, no, he's got the ball, right? And he shouldn't have been sent off. And then when you watch it again, he left one on the opponent.
Well, this is where I was going with it. I said, if you look at the way he clears the ball, I don't see how his foot then does what it does. I don't get it. Everyone's played football at some level. I've not seen that at any level, unless you're trying to leave something on him where your manager's gone, make sure that striker is silky, do this, do that, leave something on him. That's the only way I could ever see that happening. All right. And in Romero's head, I'm kind of like going, that's what he's done. He's tried to leave something on Enzo. Not sure why, but he's done it. His head's gone.
It's football, though, isn't it? That's what it's all about. It's about, look, we've all played the game. Ellie's played it at the highest level on the women's side. We've all played it to some sort of level ourselves. And if you're playing for an opposition, you always leave something on your man you're marking, or a defender, you leave something on the striker. It's something that's embedded into football. And you start taking that away, you can't take that out of Romero, because then Romero won't be the defender that we all love him for. But I just think, I think Sterling as well. I think that he dived a couple of times in that.
Yeah.
And the elbow as well. So where is the referee on him? Where is the referee booking him for diving, or a red card for elbowing the player in the face? Where was the if you're going to send Romero off for that, you send Sterling off for elbowing the Tottenham player in the face. It's a worse challenge, I think, than Romero's. So where's the consistency? There is no consistency with this. And look, it's a contact sport. Football is football. You're going to leave a mark on your opponent. You can go back to the 60s, 70s, 80s. I can remember in the 80s, the full-blooded tackles that used to go in, and they just stutter themselves down and get out and get on with it. Now, players that get touched and they're falling over like they've been shot by Lee Harvey Oswald. They're just rolling around looking for a 9.6 for the diving boards.
But Dermotron, can I just ask a quick question on that? Because I you do get that a lot. But do you think the game has got quicker and faster, and there's also been an European influence on the leagues now, where actually the whole point is you are seeing the Messis and the Ronaldos nowadays more than you were seeing. Like I know, I get Pele was great, but compared to what Messi and Ronaldo were doing, you were looking at you have more skillful players. It means that actually the tackles are going to be so different to what they were 30 years ago, and you're not going to get away with it now. Where it's a lot quicker. It's a lot quicker than it was 30, 40 years ago.
It is a lot quicker, but I think players are now more protected than they were 30 years ago. I think skillful players are more protected.
Yeah, and
but
that's the problem.
It is the problem, but it's a contact sport. You take that out of the game, it's not football. And I think referees are now, I think they're hiding behind VAR. They're waiting for VAR to tell them what to do and what not to do. I think also referees now are very influenced by, if they see us start a Messi on the pitch, the referee's going to be very influenced by him because Messi's a world superstar.
That's a good point, yeah.
Ronaldo as well is a world superstar. The referees are going to have their head turned. I mean, we always joke in our watch along, Ellie will know this, that the referee's been bought by Chelsea, a trip around the Stamford Bridge or, a trip down to the West Ham with Barney the dinosaur with West Ham. I just think players are too protected. It's too much. It's too protected. We need to get back to what football's all about. And that's a full-blooded 90 minutes helter-skelter game. And I think you are right. There's too much European influence on the Premier League. But that's our game's changed so much in 30, 40 years to what it was to is now. It's players now wouldn't get away. Graham Roberts would be on the pitch 5 minutes if he tackled now, but he got away with it back in the 80s. So.
I think he said that as well, didn't he? Yeah. He said he wouldn't last 2 minutes on the pitch.
No.
But Graham Souness wouldn't either. Like he's another one that used to throw tackles. Roy Keane, I think Roy Keane probably would last because he was quite different with it. But he probably wouldn't last as much now in a dressing room than he can about 10, 30 years ago.
I don't know where these things, but I think football needs to be remembered. I say it again, it's a contact sport. We can't take that out of the game. If we take that out of the game, it's not football anymore. And the problem we've got now is it's all too PC. Players are too, or you can't do this, and the rules are not. The rules, again, that's another thing as well, Marlon and everyone. The rules are too complicated. And this is where the problem is also. And I just think our game's in a mess a little bit at the moment, I think.
Do you think, though, the rules were always in a mess, but what's happened is that, and I'm just going slightly off topic, is that VAR, right? Forget the actual what the refs are doing with it, but actually video assistant replays have highlighted how messed up the rules were before. And that's why they've had to try and change them, because the rules before, some of them were useless and not fit for purpose. But because VAR went around, you could make the mistakes, it was fine. But because we're now seeing it, well, we've always seen it as fans, but now that the referees and all them and everyone in the game seeing it, it's the reason why the rules are completely messed, especially the handball rule now. It's a complete mess.
Like for me, I'll just jump in real quick. Sorry to cut you down.
Go on. Sorry. No, go ahead. Sorry.
No. All it was, for me, there's always been like a controversial decision by a ref. But I think the problem is right now is that now you've got a video assisted referee, it's slowing the game down for me. So I don't have too much qualms of what happened last night in terms of like footballing decisions by the referee. Like for me, it's neither here or there. I don't want to be one of those fans where I'm like, oh, the referee's favoring Chelsea. Nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not making excuses. Look, at the end of the day, Romero knew what he was doing, and so did your doggy. Do you know what I'm saying? And they kind of cost the boys, in my opinion. They kind of let our team down.
Why are you talking about your doggy? I'll bring him up.
But yeah, for me, like, it's just the amount of time that's being wasted. And I don't like the momentum change, because when he does that challenge and they're doing that whole the VAR thing, and it's taking 5 minutes, it's taking 10 minutes, it's taking 15 minutes. And then people in the stadium, they don't know what's going on. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of ruining the actual sport for them inside the game. And then even us at home, it's kind of like ruining it. We just want to see football. I don't want to see all of this talking points. I don't want any controversy. I just want to see football being played. But going back to this challenge, as I was saying before, your doggy, you're on a yellow. my guy, you're on a yellow. What are you doing? Yeah.
Hold on. To be fair to him, do you think because what happened was you got to take the scenario back a bit, right? There's 3-on-2. He done exceptionally well.
Oh, he did exceptionally well. He did so well. He put that foot, like the way his foot come up, like I was like.
So I'm gonna throw this out there, right? I don't think he was fully fit, right? Because he was the one who was rumored not to be playing, right? And I think that tackle, he hasn't played the last 2. I think it is now 1.5 games. And I think the tackle was down to he's basically played for 10 men for like 10 minutes. He's come out. He still rolled up from the challenge earlier. Do you think it was just a misplaced look? It's just he thought he didn't realize how quick Sterling was, basically, and it's just one of them things.
His reaction said it all, man. He was like that on the floor. Yeah. He was like, oh my days. But I'll let someone else jump in because
Carl, you come in on it. On my point there, I still don't think personally, if we had a left back, I don't think he would have been rushed back yesterday. Right, and I think some of that was playing through his mind, and I think he was injured, right? Personally, because you just saw some of the way he was playing very, very differently to how he's played in the last few games, and I just think that challenge there, it was 3 against 2. Sterling wasn't having the best games, but he thought he could get there first, and he's just mistimed it, and it's just one of those things.
Yeah, I mean, I agree literally with everything you've just said. I think he wasn't meant half clearly he was carrying something. Because look, come on, you're not going to dive in there. But I tell you what as well, and the reason why I said I agree with absolutely everything you said, because I was thinking the same thing. He clearly underestimated how sharp and how quick Sterling is. Yeah. Right. So because you could see there was a moment where Udogie thought, well, I can get this. So he slid in to look like the guy, like, get the crowd up and that. Yeah. So Sterling's waiting for him to jump in, and Sterling's so low with the center of gravity, and he's so quick. He just touched out that little toe. Yeah, get off. He knew what he was doing. Udogie fell for it. Down to inexperience, of course. Yeah, I think he was carrying a bit of a knot because, yes, I'm not saying he was playing within himself because he was still doing. He still played okay first half, couple of moments where on the ball, he sort of muscled out a few players, he looked all right. But as you said, if we had a suitable replacement, perhaps he wouldn't have played. Perhaps he wouldn't now be suspended. I was actually thinking with the yellow card that he had and the fact that he obviously wasn't 100% fit, should Ange have took him off at half time and put Emerson on? It was already backs to the wall. We were down to 10. We didn't really need that sort of inverted sort of left back role that he plays so well. We kind of needed, defensive solidity really. So, and the risk that he ran, just keeping him on the pitch. You look at Colwell on Chelsea's left hand side. He got a booking in the first half. Guess what? Potts took him off half time. Smart move. Things like that. That for me was where I'm not saying that's where the game was won and lost, but that's certainly where it was lost. I'm not saying we would have won even with 10 men, but we were still in the game. But it was just so frustrating. So is that
Ange's fault then? Is that Ange to blame then?
To an extent.
We'll get back to that.
Listen,
we'll get back to that.
I'm not saying. Right. Listen, it was very silly of what Udogie done, right? Diving in like that. But he's not 100% fit for one. He's young. We're already playing with this high line, right? We're already down to 10 men. Like, I don't know why risk going down to 9. Take him off, in my opinion. In hindsight, listen, hindsight's 2020, isn't it? I'm not saying it's Ange's fault, but it could have been prevented.
Dermatron, Udogie in the second tackle. Just pure mistake. You could tell that.
Can you just go to Ellie? So I just.
Ellie. Yeah. Ellie. Go ahead. Udogie. So just one of those things. It was Sterling just got ahead of him. He clearly thought he could win the ball. To be honest, he misses it by that much. Even when you look at the fight, he's there. He just misses it by that much. Yeah. But it's not a case of blaming him because Romero's already set the tone and we're already down to 10 men. Right, so he's left us in a bit of a hole. We've got Dyer now playing centre back. Van der Ven's gone off injured, which we haven't even spoke about. So
Yeah.
we've got Højbjerg, you know, your man at the back with him. So what do we do in that situation?
Well, I just think he was off the pace a bit, because a fit Udogie gets that ball, and he's ahead of Sterling, and he's bombing down the wing with the ball because he's won it, because his recovery is fantastic, you know. And I just feel, because he's carrying the knock, they done a fitness test on him, but I don't think Ange was completely confident in playing him. But having said what, was it Cole, your name? Yeah. I think you made a very good point. We're not blaming Postecoglou for not taking him off, but if he did, it would have been a smarter move, because then we would have been playing with 10 men. We lost Van der Ven as well, which was like crippling.
Yeah.
Because he's the one player apart from Udogie who's got the pace to recover on that high line. So it was unfortunate. Everything in that match went against us. It was like we were jinxed. It was horrible. It was like somebody got the bloody pin on one of those dollies and sticking the pins in on us. Do you know what I mean? But I just felt the game was so winnable as well, you know, because we created some fantastic chances to get back into that game. But I just feel Udogie, he was off the pace a bit, and especially that 2-footed tackle, he should have really gone then, really, when you think about it, because Sterling was quite civilised, because he just stepped out of his way, didn't he? Well, first of all, he didn't want to get a broken leg. And secondly, he's probably thinking, I don't want my brother to get sent off. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Dermotron, bring you in on the Udogie.
Look, I think he's a young lad. I don't think we can criticise him. I think he made a mistake. Look, and he will learn from it. He's a young lad. He will learn from it. Look, I'm going to go against all of you. I think Ange did what Ange thought was best by leaving them out there. And yeah, hindsight's a great thing. But look, I think he done the right thing, because he would have thought, well, he's done it before at Arsenal. He's got rattled and then he calmed down and then he played a good second game. He's been booked before. I think he was just over trying. I think that was if you can blame him for everything, just over trying. But I don't think Ange should have brought him off. I think Ange should have kept him on there, because I think in the past he's calmed down and he's played a really good game, even when being booked. So, look, it's just one of them things.
But don't you think he should have like a little word in his ear, or Son should chat to him, or do you know
No. Can I answer that quickly? Yeah. I don't think it's about you. This situation, the Romero situation. Yeah, I'm going on the fact I don't think he was fit, and I think I think the tackle is not lazy. That's the not poor word. I think it's just because he's not fully fit, and he can't. 2 weeks ago, he'd have made that tackle. He would have got there and timed it well. I just think this time, because he's having a fitness test at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
This is the problem. And if you actually look at the gameplay, Ash, right, and look at the way he's been playing the last few weeks, he was nowhere near going in between where he was. If you notice from your picture earlier, it was mostly Sarr. Sarr was doing most of the running with Basuma. I think they were trying to cover him, and I think that's why also what happened to Van der Ven, because they had to try and cover the loss of Udogie in the pace, because if Udogie would have probably gone on a long run, I think he would have gone as well. I think it's just coincidence that the tackle, he got overexcited a little bit, he won it, he done exactly, and I blame the crowd, if I'm being honest, for getting up and making it, and he's feeling pumped now. He's like, oh my God, I'm doing this.
I don't know, you're on a yellow. Someone have a word, man. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think he's always going to make that tackle, because it's there to be won, and I think he's done it. Let's be honest, he's done it week in, week out for the last how many games? Even against Arsenal, he's done it. He's made them tackles even when he was on a yellow. I personally think he wasn't fit, I think that's the reason why it was so mistimed, because a fit Sterling, again, he's probably watched Sterling all game. Sterling hasn't really done much. Right, let's be honest. They've tried to get at Porro, which we haven't even spoken about. They literally went on Porro, but when that came in, he's thinking it was 50-50. I just don't think he realized how quick Sterling was, and that was the issue. And that I can't, like, I don't think there's anything any captain or anything could do in that situation, because that's your doggy's game, and it just happened to be he just mistimed it. But he like Dermotron said, he'll learn from it, and it's just unfortunate that he done it because he knew straight away. But it was probably not the worst tackle of the game, if we're being honest.
It was just the timing.
It was just the timing.
And he knew straight away he was gone. Literally, he was like, oh, it's coming.
All right. So Carl's brought up a great point, right? He's brought up Ange, right? Now, there's been a lot of debate on this. This is going to be very interesting for the whole panel now to what you would have done, okay? But Ash, we've always got to start with you because you've got to speak about this. So this is how we lined up with 9 men at 1-1.
Yes.
Go on. Why did Ange? So some people are saying it was great. It was a great tactic. Was working. 4-1 didn't reflect actually of how this was working. We had chances to make it 2-2. He couldn't play. He had to play a high line because he couldn't go low block with the players that he had at his disposal. Some people saying learn from what Liverpool did, go low block. Why did Ange choose this way?
I think it's because, number one, we're quite early into the tenure of Ange Postecoglou. So 10 games in, I don't think he's going to switch tactics and say, let's practice that low block that we've been doing in training. It's not going to happen. I don't think he's ever done that in training.
Me too. He just goes, remember Conte from last season? Here you go.
I think personally that train of thought where he's trying to get that out of them. Do you know what I'm saying? So he's trying to double down and draw that out of them. Listen, come crooks or hooks, nannies or crooks, whatever you want to say. This is how we play. This is the Ange Postecoglou. This is the Tottenham way. No, we're playing front-footed attacking football. It could be, and he said it. You could go down to 10 men, 9 men, 5 men. Do you know what I'm saying? 1 man. You know, 1 man for my pom pom. Yeah. But anyway, so literally, it could be that many numbers. And he's not going to change his philosophy. He's going to stick to this philosophy. And top coaches, they don't really do that. They don't really change their identity. Sort of with Conte. Some people might argue because Klopp obviously was 9 men and he did change it and then he went into a low block. But I'm saying, like, in the early stages, he's trying to get
the reason why, and again, Arteta, 2 Man City games last year, tried to attack. This third one, he literally did not play the exact same way. He basically.
But that's the difference. I think the difference is the timing. And I think, as I said at the start, he's very earlier into his tenure and he's 10 games in. And so I think for him, like, that time to adapt and change things, he's not saying that to his players. He's got a young squad and he's saying this is the way we're going to play football. Now, my issue at times is because I did understand Chelsea weren't getting it right for like 75 minutes or 73 minutes, however long it was not working. It was not working. They were rushing it too much. And the sweeper keeper, Vicario, was amazing. He had an outstanding game and he won a lot of those balls. When they tried to play over, you could see like Dyer's in the foot race. Look at him, he's on the half turn. He looks like he's about to sprint. Obviously, that's not his game. When I was watching the game, I was panicking. I can't lie. I was panicking. I'm like, why are we still playing a high line with Eric Dyer in the back? Our back three is Eric Dyer, Højbjerg. And...
I know it's because Ellie's on the show. You're trying not to mention Højbjerg.
Højbjerg did his thing. I'm not gonna lie. Hey, listen, Queen Ellie, talk your shit. Now's the time to, because so many people were against you and Højbjerg. Now's the time you could talk your smack.
Okay, I'm just gonna throw something out there. No. But
against Højbjerg. But
I'm not with his warrior paint painted on, right? And when he heads it over the bar, gets it off the line, has the presence of mind to head it over the bar like a.
But the high line never suited him or Dyer though.
The thing is though, Marlon, his recovery pace I was impressed with. He got back a couple times and he won the ball. He did an amazing job. But my issue was with this high line, I didn't want everyone to be in a line like this. I wanted, and it wasn't always like this, by the way, because this picture doesn't tell the whole story. I thought at times the midfielders were there to press those three players you can see.
They were. Yeah. This is just the extreme example of it, because this
is where everyone's
extreme.
looking at this.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Spurs play the ultra high line, and this is a super narrative, like super high line Spurs, 9 men, blah blah blah. Like it's what do you call it? It's what's those words? Clickbait. It's clickbaiting,
Yeah.
and all the fans are all falling for it. But if you actually watch the game back and you deep it, like obviously 9 men can only press for so long. Do you know what I'm saying? Because Son was pressing at times. Kulu, when he was on, was pressing. Sarr was pressing. Do you know what I mean? They got taken off in the 60th minute. So it wasn't a straight line like this the whole time, the whole game, like a quarterback or American football style type of game where one guy kicks it long and then everyone runs after the ball. Like, this is not school football. That wasn't the tactic. Do you know what I'm saying? So the context needs to be winded a little bit. But obviously Chelsea figured it out. They said, we'll do 3 or 4 passes, but slow it down. And then that pass will naturally happen where the through
they made their fullbacks end up running beyond. Yeah.
So as you can see,
but my question is, right? So once Chelsea figured it out, right? And it was quite early on that Chelsea figured it out, right? And this is a Chelsea team that, let's be honest, can't score for nothing, right? Even yesterday, they can't score for nothing. Do you think that's the reason why a lot of people were calling for the low block? Because if we were playing against Chelsea, right, on the low block, right, are they likely to score? With this team that they've got now, are they likely to score?
So
and now I'm thinking of it. You have to consider the opponents, right?
Yeah.
And I get Højbjerg and Dyer. Yes, Vicario was there, but I thought they got caught quite a few times.
It did, and that's why I was nervous during the game. But watching it back, there were times where we were actually in a low block. Like the scenario happened where we actually did sit back and drop back. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And there was times where they had to cross it into the box, and it went way over. Like I said, Mudryk was on the wing. He's tried to cross it. It's gone way over. And there was times they weren't actually getting in. But it's kind of hard to, like, with those defenders that we had from last season, when we tried to do the low block, did that really work? Do you know what I'm saying? We conceded a record number of goals in that system. We scored, we conceded 63 goals in a low blocking or mid block to low block team. Do you know what I'm saying?
Again, though, we beat Chelsea in a low block last year as well, and they've not improved at all. So,
but that's with 11 men, Marlon. So it's
I know, but it's not. But what you're saying is that yes, there were certain games last year, but there were certain games that these players were able to play it. Otherwise, we wouldn't have won as many. We had a great start. Yeah, we couldn't defend all the time, but again, we also had the same complaint at Chelsea last year, right? They just can't score, right? We played a low block against them last year. We beat them 2-0, right? So the question is, what I'm asking is, should Ange have taken the opponents and what's happened with Chelsea as a whole and looked at it and gone, I know everyone's saying, oh, you can't play the low block, but
no, I'm not saying, but basically,
the players could, but haven't the players in the squad got to be able to adapt? That's my question. Haven't they got to be able to adapt in different situations?
But you know what? We could have still lost that game in a low block. By the way,
we could have.
Because the same thing could have happened. We could have been drawn out because at certain Højbjerg jumping out, trying to press their midfield. I saw Dyer try to do it, and they're getting sucked out at times. So certain times we're in a low block and you're trying to defend, but
I get what you're saying. Do you know what? I get what you're saying, right? But they wasn't really playing. Like I get what they weren't really playing a low block though. They wasn't told to, so they didn't. So when you're saying getting sucked out, if you had it was 4 banks at the back and then you had the lot in the middle and Son was up there at the top, right? You were told just sit.
Yeah.
Do you think then they're going to make the
mistakes? The thing is, all right. Yeah. I hear what you're saying, and what you're saying is correct. So I will.
No, it's not even about correct. I'm asking. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to ask you questions to see where you're going with this.
No. But okay.
Because I'm going to ask the guys the exact same thing.
Yeah, I know. Right, cool.
I'm not even giving my opinion.
Yeah, no, I hear that. No. I know what you're doing. I'm just saying. Basically, at some point, the low block thing, because we took Kulu off at 60th minute and we took Sarr off on the 60th minute. Yeah. And remember, the 2-1 only happened on the 75th minute, right? Or the 73rd minute. Yeah. The pressing was happening from Kulu and Sarr. And then when they came off,
is that not the question then?
So, but when
right when they had those two,
yeah, I know. So then those other players needed to adapt to the situation that was happening and actually press. But for me, even though we were playing a high line, if you think about it, when we went 2-1 down, the chances we had after that was because we were playing a high line, in my opinion. So I'm not sure.
I got it at you.
I'm not sure. I was getting there, but I'm not sure if we played a low block, if we would have got those chances with the
Good point.
with the Eric Dyer chance, with the free kick from Porro, with the Benton Core, by the way, like I think if he goes with his foot, he scores that. He's gone with his head for some reason.
That's rustiness.
Yeah.
And he's gone for his head rather than his leg. Or if you're going for your head, stoop down and then header it, and then it's in the back of the net. And then
two minds, wasn't it?
Ash, you shush for a second because I want to get the free guest now. Right, because we were talking way too much. Carl, I'm going to start with you. Obviously, Highline, right? And you said earlier about Ange not bringing off Udogie and stuff like that. Are you in the camp with some people? I think it's very 50-50 at the moment, right? And I'm just asking the questions behind it. I'm not giving my opinion on this. Do you think he should have gone low block, right? Because especially after when Sarr and Kulusevski came off, which Ash mentioned, I finally got it out of him to mention it. But do you think he should have gone a low block then? Or do you think he should have carried on the way he did? Because we had two chances from Bentancur and Son. Which way are you going? And you said you've watched the game back today.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, what I'd like to sort of double back on is what I said before about him trying, the fact that I thought he should have took Udogie off at half time. To be fair, he couldn't have. There was no one to bring off the bench. Emerson was already on, but I forgot that. But yeah,
it's all right. You're allowed to make mistakes.
Exactly that. But listen, going back to the high line, listen, it was naive. It was naive. It was too high. Come on. I've seen high lines, but that was ridiculous. Come on. Like, I know that clip that Ash keeps saying that, obviously, you know, that's the one that's circling about on social media, but it wasn't far. Like, most of the lines that we were trying to set weren't far off that. A lot of the times we were close to the halfway line. And when you check it back, as I said again, I watched the game today. As soon as Dyer came on the pitch, right, when Romero got sent off, we was playing that high line like straight away with 10 men. It got even higher with 9. To me, it was naive. Listen, it was only a matter of time before the likes of Sterling and Mudryk and players with pace were going to just penetrate and time their runs perfectly. Listen, it took them long enough, right? But we weren't doing our best to sort of, you know, prevent that. Listen, I don't mind playing the high line if you got the pace. You know, if we had Van der Ven on, fair enough. You're playing the high line with Dyer and Royale. What's that about? Come on. No, I wasn't impressed, to be honest. I was nervous every time Chelsea had the ball and I saw the high line. I'm thinking, this is going to be a cricket score. It's ridiculous. If it was Man City, we're talking 12-1, right? That would have been a cricket score, right? But yes, just in the sense of how I think he should have approached it, because it's all well and good saying what he shouldn't have done, but what should he have done? Good question. Perhaps a mid-block. You know, you're quite right. We could have lost the game if we sat back and they could have just picked us off. But guess what? They wouldn't have been the same. I don't know which way you want to look at it, because at the same time, you know, we played in this courageous way and it's still, you know, the fans stayed to clap. There's still a feel-good factor about Spurs. You know, in the media, people are talking better about Tottenham than they are about Chelsea, and they're the one that came away with the 3 points. So depends which way you look at it, because I'll go back to what Ash said before. It's a great point. And is trying to obviously adopt this new philosophy, this new style. He's, you know, it's either all or nothing, you know, and he's trying to sort of coach the old way out of those players. So I can see why he's done it in the sense of like the long-term gain. But, you know, in isolation, that's what, 70 minutes we played with 10 men, 75 minutes. Yeah, it wasn't good to watch. I'll say that.
Dermotron. High line. Was it a rookie mistake or was it a great thing to do considering the players we had out there?
It's who we are, mate. It's who we are. Look, I can remember the Aussie years and they were mental. when Ozzy would line up with about 10 players up front and one defender.
Oh, don't. Dimitrescu, Klinsmann,
Yeah.
Popescu. Oh my God, you're taking me back now. Nick Barnby.
Yeah. I mean, going to games, you didn't know if you're going to win 5-4 or lose 6-0. I mean, it was just mental. But I've watched a lot of. I'm a massive Celtic fan as well, so I've seen Ange for the last couple of years up in Celtic, and I knew what we were getting when he came down here. Ange ain't going to change for no one. And I think it's about time we had a manager that actually, right, even if we're down to 9 men, let's give it a real go. Let's give our last drop, our last bit of sweat for the shirt, for the badge, for the fans. Let's do it the Bill Nick way, or the Arthur Rowe way, or the Keith Birkinshaw way. And I think Ange is right to do what I'm going to back Ange here. I think Ange was spot on what he did last night. I have no complaints. I have no disappointments what he did whatsoever.
Can I ask a quick question on that, though?
Yeah.
The Premier League is an unforgiving league, right? Every league in the world, right? It's an unforgiving league. And even Pep's had to adjust. In certain games, he's had to adjust. Ange will have to do that at some point, right?
He will have to adjust, but I don't think he has to change his whole philosophy on how he plays the game. Yep. I think there's going to be some games he's going to have to stick an extra midfielder in or something like that. Yeah, I agree with you. But I don't want him to change. I am so proud of them players, them 9 players last night. They got clapped off because they gave their all for the club, for the fans, for the badge, for the shirt. They gave their last bit of blood for that team last night.
Can I ask another quick question on that as well? If the scoreline was 6 or 7, would you still have the same opinion?
Yeah. Yeah, I would. I would, because the players gave everything. That's all we've ever asked for. Okay. We had 4 years or 5 years of Nuno ball, of Conte ball, of Mourinho ball. Football that is so anti-Tottenham, football that's so against us, against our religion, against our philosophy, against our makeup as a club. We've got a manager that was coached by Puskás, one of the greatest players the world's ever seen, who was then coached by Arthur Rowe. Arthur Rowe could coach Puskás. Puskás coached Ange. So you've got the 51 manager full circle back again at Tottenham. Got him playing the modern version of push and run football. He's playing the Tottenham way. And Tottenham through the years, if we lost 4-0 or 1-5-0, if the play, all we've ever asked is players to give 110% on the pitch. That's all we've ever asked for. And the players are given that 110%. And even if they lost 6-0, I would have clapped them off last night. And I know there's loads of fans that will back me up on that, because it's the Tottenham way. They played what we want them to play. They never gave up. And that was the thing last night that impressed me the most.
Ellie, what's your feelings on the whole situation? And should he have adjusted it a little bit, or do you think he was right to play exactly the way he did?
I'm going to take you in a different direction.
Oh, do you have to?
Right? Everybody was saying how fabulous Klopp was to get a result 2-1 loss, right? Because he played the low block. But I looked at the stats of that game, right? We had 24 chances, right? We created 24 chances because they went into a low block. Before they went into a low block, we'd created about 3 or 4. So also they only created 8 chances for the whole of the game, and 4 of those were on target. You look at the stats from last night. We scored a goal. Dyer scored a goal, right? It was disallowed, yes, right? Sonny done a fantastic shot. We had other chances with Bentancur stooping when he took a shot.
Yeah, and this is the thing, and I think no, this is a good point, because Fred said, and this is so important. At one point, that game could have ended 2-2.
Yes, right, and fortune favours the brave. That's a big saying, isn't it? Right, and it would have favoured us if we were on 11. Honestly, if we had 11 men, we would have whooped their asses. I'm telling you, because we had them. 15 minutes of that first half, we had them spinning, right? And that goal by Sonny was sublime, and that was ruled offside as well, unfortunately. But I'm with Dermot. To dare is to do, right? That's our motto, right? We're not low blockers. Why are we going to go to low block?
Well, tell
hated
Levy
that
to stop
football
employing
last
these
year.
low block managers. He's employed, I think, 70% of the managers that Levy's employed have been low blockers.
Yeah, right. So, where's that got us? 22 years, one trophy, right? I'm not saying we've played low block all the time, because obviously under Poch we didn't, right? But look what
Poch,
Poch
Harry,
did.
and Martin.
Right? That type of football that Poch played, right? We've got it with Ange, but we've got it +1 with Ange because he is a very, very good coach, right? And with 9 men, he nearly beat Chelsea. We could have won that game, not just got a draw. We could have won it because the pressing was immense, right? Okay, it's unfortunate that Dyer hasn't got pace. It's unfortunate that Højbjerg's not a centre-back, but they tried their best, the boys. Even Dyer. What a great goal he scored, yeah? But it was chalked off. But I'm just saying, like, it's better to go down trying than just to give up and go into a low block. And look what Liverpool did. They didn't win the match against us. And everybody was praising Klopp, saying, oh, he's an elite manager. Yes, he is an elite manager, but so is Ange. He comes with a fantastic CV to our club, right? Better than Poch's, because he's won things everywhere he's gone. And he's going to emulate it. I'm 100% behind this manager. I think he's a breath of fresh air.
There's one thing about Ange I love. I mean, you said about Levy appointing low block managers. He must have rang up Ozzy Levy. What did you do when you were a manager? And Ozzy must have bent his ear about attacking football. Okay, I'm going to go and take that man. But look, Ange is a winner. Let's not forget that. Ange is a full-blown winner. He's won everywhere he's gone. I recently called Poch a loser because Poch didn't win anything. Ange is a winner. We're going to win something under Ange, and we're going to do it the Tottenham way, the way that we all been brought up to play. Look,
if Ange does it, look, I tell you this: if Ange does it under Levy, oh my god, he goes down as the greatest manager ever.
I think if Ange won a trophy under Levy, I think Levy might go down as a decent chairman after all.
So I wanted to ask a quick question, actually, because I was at work today, right, and I was discussing something, right, and I never thought of this, right, the whole time of yesterday. And you've all mentioned there's certain points of the game, and no one's actually spoken that Ange got booked yesterday, which was quite unusual as well, right? And the whole occasion, the players being rolled up a little bit. Do you think, right, and I'm just throwing this out there, right? It's a random question. Do you think Ange got a bit heated up because it was Poch coming back and all the talk was about Poch coming back, Poch this, Poch that? And Ange wanted everybody, like all the Spurs fans, to forget about Poch, basically. And he wanted it to be not about him, but wanted to say, he's the history, I'm the present. And that's where I think he was rolled up too, because every question in the press conference was, Poch is coming back. Oh, the ex-lover is coming back. This, that, and the other. Right? And some of the decisions that he made in the game, and with Romero being too up for it, Dougie being too up for it, the players were up for it and fast start and everything like that. Do you think that played any part into some of the decisions he was making yesterday and even the booking that he got? Ash, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, no, I personally, I saw a little clip about Celtic and how, because like the whole VAR, they kept asking him about the VAR as well as the Poch thing after the games, the post-match. And when he was at Celtic, he said he thinks VAR is ruining games. Do you know what I'm saying? And obviously, it's come back full circle. And I feel like he's being a bit smarter this time. And he's said, the referee's decision's final. And I thought it was a touch of class. Now, going back to that Pochettino
because
moment,
even Arteta agreed with him today. Yeah. By the way, he agreed with what Ange had said last night.
I just think with as cool and as calm as he is, and as much as of a thinker he is, because he's a deep thinker, I feel like he's a thinker manager. He's not just a person that kind of does things off the cuff. I think to the occasion at that time may have got to him a little bit. However, I thought the referee was a bit harsh, on giving him the yellow. I didn't quite hear what happened or what was said.
But this is my point, because that's why
technical area.
And this
that was okay.
It came out of his technical area. But this is why I'm asking the question: did the whole thing about Poch coming back to the lane and get to him? Because this is not something like that is not Ange. He's everybody loves him, and I thought last night was
he doesn't really move about. You're right. I agree with you. He doesn't really move about. The one thing the amount of managers that come out of their technical box, they don't get booked, is crazy.
Poch was outside his box yesterday, funny enough, and I was like, he needs to be booked for that, and he never got anything.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? There's one rule for V and one rule for another. So I don't really get it. I thought it was a bit harsh, but I still felt after he got booked, I thought he was composed anyway, and he wasn't doing too much different to what he normally does. I know he was talking a little bit, but I've seen them talk before. I've seen them, I think Bournemouth, I've seen them talking and celebrating goals. Obviously not like other managers like Conte went to go crazy, jump in the crowd and that crowd surf over his old staff. That's not Ange's style. But I don't think he really deserved that yellow, if I'm being honest. I know he left the box, but I don't really know. I don't think so. I kind of disagree with it, man. I don't think he was really rattled like that.
Carl, any truth in what I'm saying? You ever thought back?
No. I think that's a reach.
The reason why I'm saying, because we haven't, for me, I haven't seen at all Romero and Udogie and the way they were fired up. I've never seen them like that in the last how many games, right? And for me, and the person that asked me the question goes, because I've never seen Spurs like that, did they think it had something to do with the whole lead up just all being about Poch, and it kind of slightly got to him, and for the fact he got the yellow and was out of his technical area. This is the man who's followed the rules for weeks. Why has this Chelsea game been slightly different?
I think because listen, it's a good question. Because
we've had the North London derby, right? And the North London derby, everything was exactly spot on and everything like that. But yeah, this was about Poch coming back, and that's the only thing. Everything he was asked last week was about Poch. And then seeing all the comments about you love is blind, and it's colorblind. Sorry, not love is blind. Love is colorblind, and yes, I will still want to manage them one day. And this is what's coming out in the media from Poch.
Yeah,
and I'm just kind of like, no, I'm in the hot seat here. Who says you're going to come back and take my seat? Kind of scenario. This is what I'm. Look, it could be a reach, right? But I'm just throwing it out there because it may be something that we haven't even thought about. To why
very true,
the game ended up the way it did.
100%. Listen, it could be part of it, but I don't think it was the biggest part of it. If that makes sense, it's probably everything rolled into one.
Yeah,
Monday night under the lights, the atmosphere. Listen, I've heard some Tottenham fans say Chelsea's a bigger game than Arsenal. Listen, I don't agree. Personally, right? Arsenal's a bigger game for me, right? Yeah. But how much that game means to a lot of Spurs fans, to all of us. So yeah, I just think the players really know what it means. The last few years, we've had some iconic encounters with Chelsea, and it's a massive game. There's a lot of energy, there's a lot of high tension. Look what happened last year at the Bridge. At the end of the game, Battle of the Bridge a few years ago. It's always a spicy game. Let's be honest. So you was always going to get fireworks. Personally, I think even if it's actually a good point, because when you think about it, if it was like West Ham Monday night, the players probably wouldn't have been so fired up. 100%. So I do think it's got a lot to do with the opponent, not necessarily Poch, but that's probably rolled into it as well. So it's actually a good point. It's probably not so much of a reach as what I've heard.
Dermotron, come on. Are you going to back me up, or are you going to completely... Oh, no, I'm not backing me up. It's just something that I've thought about, and I actually started to think about it. I thought it was actually a very good point. It was just something different about last night, and Poch was probably the biggest reason.
It's a very good point, but I'm sorry, I can't. I don't think Ange cares. I don't think Ange cares if Poch will come back or not. Look, for me, it was a London derby. He's been known to fire up his players 3 hours before games, because if he does his team talk before the match, they will get sent off. It's somebody said that actually. An Australian captain said if Ange did his team talk before the match, they will all get sent off within 5 minutes. So he must have done his team talk a bit nearer the game. I don't think he cares if Poch was there or not. This is his house. You're coming to my house now. You were once here. And I don't want Poch ever to come back. I don't want Poch ever to be our manager again. He's been there. He didn't work. He failed. You move on. We've got Ange. We've got the new Bill Nicholson in charge of Tottenham now. He's a reincarnation of Bill Nick and Arthur Rowe put into one. And we're going to win stuff under Ange. And I don't think that bothers him at all. He's sitting in his dugout looking at Poch. I'm in the hot seat now, man. This is my house. You come and respect me in my house. And look, that referee last night would have booked a ghost if he came onto the pitch. Michael Oliver is the worst referee ever to referee in the Premier League. He must have been offered a tour around Stamford Bridge, and his wife must have got a 50-euro card to go to a shopping centre in the West End. That's what probably swung it through. I mean, you don't. How many times is Arteta out of the box? How many times you watch Sky and managers are nearly on the pitch and nobody says nothing? That idiot of a referee last night sees Ange 2 foot out, a little about 10 centimeters outside. It's like, right, I'm going to book you. Well, what about him? Oh, I love Poch. I'd leave him alone. So, do you know, he's probably a love boy, Poch love boy or something. Nah, I don't think Ange cared.
Ellie, any truth from what I'm saying, or am I just like...
No truth, because Ange is his own man. He knows himself. He comes from good stock. His dad is fabulous as well. I don't know if you saw the documentary on how he loves his dad and like how he respects him. He's his own man. He doesn't need Poch. Like when they were hugging at the start of the match, I was watching them, and it was like a mutual admiration, but then it was like, get off me.
He was probably whispering in his ear, Ellie, you're going to lose. It was like Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier or George Foreman. He's probably in a clutch, right? And he's probably telling him, you're going down. You're going down.
Yeah.
Poch, I'm going to whoop you. You're going to lose tonight. You know, he's probably mind gaming him. And Poch is going, I don't want to be here. Can I go home now? You know?
And he's probably saying, look, I look sharp, man. You look like you've been like in a rag bag of a man, you know. And also what I would say, right, is that I think they should have done VAR on that booking. You know what I mean? That I agree with Dermot about the referee. When I saw it was Michael Oliver, I said, we're losing this match. I actually said it. I said it to about 5 or 6 people around me. They gave me a dirty look, but I didn't care, because that referee, every time we have him, honestly, you watch all the matches that he referees our matches, there's always controversy. There's always something that happens that you think, whoa, you want to get hold of him, right? I'm not saying he's a bad referee. I'm just saying when he referees our matches, right, there's always drama, always. And also, Pochettino, right, he did come out of his box, and Arteta's doing it all the time, every single time. And it's not right. Like, he's booked our manager to make a point, hasn't he? Because the game was getting out of hand, and he probably thought, if I nip the manager in the bud, the players will follow suit. But he lost control of that game. You know, when was it Colwell who was shaping up to Saab, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Right? And then Basuma came and pushed him away. Where was the referee in that situation?
Shook. He's shook. His belly. Yeah, his belly.
That's what I'm saying. He's not a good referee in my book. He's not at our matches, especially when I see him in other matches. He's pretty good referee. When he referees our matches, rubbish.
He's a dweeb, man. He's a dweeb.
I think the Poch thing was more mind games. I think that's what he was doing. It's a London derby. It's mind games. It's trying to get under the other manager's feet or toes. Do you know what I mean? Tried to get under his skin. And I don't think that worked with Ange. But I think it's all mind games. I want to come back and manage Tottenham one day. I love the club. The club loves me. Or Levy is such a great man. It's all about mind games and sort of. But he did say also, it's nice to be at a club that win things, which is a dig at us. So,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? I think it's all mind games. I think it's all just trying to get one over Ange. I think Ange is too smart up here. He managed the biggest game in the lot, Celtic Rangers. I mean, Tottenham Chelsea is a walk in the park compared to that game. That game's just mad. And I think it's all my games, and Ange just sits back and just says, "Let it go, lad. I do my talking on the pitch." He did his talking on the pitch last night.
And also, Dermot, right? He hasn't won anything at Chelsea yet. It's other managers that have won it, not you, Poch. So for him to say that they're a winning club, you haven't won anything with them. When you've won something with them, then come out mouthing it off.
Oh, come on, Ellie. He won something in the Farmers League. Come on. He went to PSG and won something. Don't give him credit where credit's due. But, you know... Yeah, go on. Sorry, Marlon.
So only because you not mentioned Mike Oliver, right? And I didn't have the same opinion on him as you guys did, right? So I thought I'd quickly look up what his stats are against Tottenham, right? So in 19 matches that we've had him as our home, as we've been the home team, right? Spurs have won 14, drawn 2, lost 3. Where he's a problem for us is away from home, where we've had 24 matches with him, won 8, drawn 7, lost 9. So, and we've only had 2 up until last night. So we've had 2 straight red cards with him, and 3 where it's 2 bookable red cards.
I think I know why Michael Oliver was awful last night. He didn't get to go on the skywalk. That was his problem last time. Levy didn't offer him the skywalk or get a legend to bring him around the stadium. That was his problem last night.
So,
Levy, get your checkbook out, bring him to the skywalk, and just give him the full VIP treatment.
But weirdly, that was only our 3rd loss with him. Like our home record with him is very decent, and the only reason why. And then I saw this comment as well from Namesake. You know, he's a good guy. This Marlon. But I just thought I remember Mike Oliver's actually been. I thought Mike Oliver was really good for us, and I actually thought last night the fact he didn't book Romero and Udogie for those 2 challenges. I think he let it go for us. I think he was actually on our side up until that point. I think we lost our heads.
I don't know, man. I was watching the game and I was like, there were so many challenges I saw. And I was like, brother,
it's an awful. Do you know what though? It's about like you can Mark Clattenburg 2-2. Mark Clattenburg in the 2-2 draw. That was worse.
But brother,
VAR that gave the decision not to send off Udogie for that tackle.
Yeah, but he could have easily gone. He saw it. So the Udogie, I think Dermotron was saying, he's looking right at it. He saw it, but he chose not to do anything.
There was a debatable one where what's his name? Basuma's got the ball, second half, he's running with it, he's put it through Cucurella's legs, I think it is, and he's just dribbling with the ball. And then I can't remember who came on, but it was a Chelsea brother, dark skin. I think he's nudged him. Referees let it go, innit? Referees let it go, and then it's obviously led to a goal from that. And I remember Basuma smashed out. I was like, what the fuck? But then he tried to cool because he knew if he went too mad, he would get a yellow card and we missed the next game. So he had to keep it cool. But they ended up scoring a goal off the back of it to make it.
But my point in the whole of this is actually at White Hart Lane, Mike Oliver's not actually that bad for us. It's a perception that we've all been taken. Yeah,
I'm very surprised.
Did anyone see Cucurella come on the pitch when he came on? He was looking around to see if Romero was anywhere near him. He actually ran on the pitch, right? Put his hand over his face, and I actually said to Colin, who was doing the watch along, he's probably going on. Nobody can see me. Nobody can see me. I bet you Romero, right, was in the dressing room and he was going into him at half time. Give us a touch of your hair. Give us a touch of your hair. He's probably saying, get me on the pitch. Listen, lads, I have to pop off now. I'm up early in the morning. So listen, I'm sorry I've got to leave you.
Thank you.
But I've really enjoyed myself. Thank you so much for inviting me to come on. I've really had a blast.
No problem. Thank you very much, Dermotron. It's been a pleasure.
Nice one, Dermot.
If you like what I've got to say, please get over to THFC till I die. And like the channels here, follow where Kyle is. Kyle, you've been fantastic. I have to get you on sometime too, sir. And the lads and Ellie as well. It's always a pleasure. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I forgot how you and me are actually quite good on the screen together.
We are.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go and find my Michael Oliver yearbook and see can I send it to him, get an autograph. And yeah, like what I got to say, THFC till I die. Like the guys below, hit the like button and subscription, and I'll see you again too. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah.
You Spurs, big up Gerbatron.
Dermot's
In
got that
Antry
Irish
Trust.
flip, man.
So we are literally on the last question anyway of tonight. And I'm gonna keep the guest. I'm gonna do the guest first, right? But starting 11 versus Wolves, right? So I'm gonna throw some spanners in the works, right? We have to take that James Maddison's going to be injured in your starting 11, so he won't play. Obviously, Van der Ben's out. Obviously, Romero's out. Udogi's out. I'm trying to think who else now.
Is Davis? You think Davis is still going to be out?
Yeah, and I'm counting that Davis is going to be out because he obviously went around and I don't know if he might rush back again just to play centre back, but just in that sense, we'll say he's out as well. We'll go on last night on who was available, right? Who is your starting lineup? Yeah, who is going to be your starting defense and your everybody going forward? And there's no Richarlison either, by the way.
Well, listen, I wasn't going to put him in anyway.
Not the fact you're going to put him in anyway, but it's just to throw it out there.
Of course. Well, let's start. So Vicario, obviously. Porro, right back. Dyer, obviously. Obviously, left centre back's the problem, isn't it? I mean, listen, are we really going to stick Phillips in there? I don't know. We might have to. We might see something crazy.
So he didn't play against Cambridge tonight, apparently. He weren't in the squad against Cambridge tonight.
Okay, there you go. Getting him a bit matched up for the weekend, I hope, because we might need him, genuinely. So, obviously, look, if Davis ain't in, you've got to start Phillips. he's our fourth choice centre back, isn't he? Well, fifth after Ben Davis, of course. Emerson Royale, left back. Saying that, so I'd go Basuma, Sarr, Højbjerg.
Okay,
right? Yeah.
Højbjerg. I was like, he still plays for us. Sorry, Ellie.
So Basuma, Sarr, Højbjerg. Perhaps put Basuma in a more advanced role, or Højbjerg could do the box to box. Either way, obviously Kulu, Son, Johnson.
Ellie, yours, and also the chat as well. I know some people have put it in as well. I would like to know what everyone else's lineup is, and considering I've put those permutations in of who's fit and who's not. Ellie, who do you want to start against Wolves if that is the selection headache that Ange has?
Well, I'll put Vicario in goal, obviously, because he's fantastic. Porro right back.
Yeah.
Left back has to be Emerson, doesn't it? Because Davis, I don't think he's making it. And then I would put Dyer and Phillips because you got to blood him, and it's telling that he didn't go to Cambridge tonight. Mm-hmm. So I think he's going to get a start. Yeah. But then I would actually play Bentancur, Højbjerg and Basuma and leave Sarr on the bench. The reason I'm saying that is because we need experience, right? We really do need experience in that midfield. And Højbjerg, he stepped up yesterday as a centre-back, right? But he was pressing and he was making some really good balls, right? So I would actually blood Bentancur first, because Bentancur, he can give you that extra spark that we're going to miss if Maddison doesn't make it. Because it's touch and go whether they said he's going to make it or not, right? But if he doesn't, I'd rather have Bentancur as a creative, because he can pull the strings for us with Basuma pushing forward and then Højbjerg being the disciplined one. Yeah. And then I'd play Johnson on the right, Kulu on the left, and Sonny in the middle. Because I just think it's better balance putting Kulu on the left, because he's a left footer. He should be playing on the left. I don't get why he's playing on the right. I know why he is, because he's helping Porro, right? Because he is really good at tracking back and double banking. So either way, it's going to be Kulu on the right. I'm sure it's going to be Kulu on the right, Johnson on the left, and Sonny in the middle. And then our bench is going to be very poor. Apart from Sarr.
Ash, Do you want me to go before you? Because it's your show, and I'm just here to host. or do you want me to go last?
Well, do what you want to do, man. Do what you want to do.
We'll save the best till last then, yeah? So you go first. No, I'm joking. Let me go.
I'm here. I'm chilling, bro.
So, look, I really hate Dyer. I can't stand him. Even last night, I couldn't stand him. I'd put Vic in goal. I'd go Royale at right back, and I'd put Porro left back. I would put... I would probably I'd start with Dyer and Højbjerg at the back, right? And make sure that Porro is next to Højbjerg. It depends on which side Højbjerg wants to go, because I think he went to the left last night. I can't remember now. He did. So and I'd leave Royale with Dyer. That's how I'd do it. I would then put Bissouma, Sarr, and at a push, Lo Celso. If he's, because he's been on the bench, I'd go, you know what, throw him at the deep end. Brennan Johnson on the left, Son in the middle, and I probably would go Kulu up top, Kulu as well. I think Sarr's energy we need, just in case the legs for Højbjerg and Dyer, because they're gonna. You've got two slow people there playing a high line. With Ashley Phillips, it's a case of I think Andrew will play him. I personally think he will, but because of our fullback pairing, I put Højbjerg there in centre back, because, like you said, we need experience. And if we've got the midfield three as, even if it's Bentancur or Lo Celso, I don't care which one. I just personally think that would be great to have Højbjerg in there as well. I'd want every single one of them to be in there for experience, but we'll see. Yeah, I think Maddison will play, but I was just throwing it in there just in case, because it could be like we might not have him. Ash, go on, end it.
Vicario on goal, sweeper keeper. I'd say Porro right back. We'll keep Porro right back. He's been playing right back all season, so why change it? I would have. I think it'll be Dyer as a right-sided centre back.
Yep.
And Phillips. I heard Phillips has got electric pace.
Yep.
He's big. He's tall. He's strong. He's stocky. And I agree with Ellie. Now's the time to kind of beat him in. So I'd give him a go. Obviously, the manager's put him on the bench for numerous amount of games. He had him on the bench, so he must have trusted him for a reason. On the left, I put Emerson Royale there. I saw what he did against Palace. Controlled the game quite well with short passes, inverted quite well as well. And defensively, he was really good, I thought, on that left back. So I'd have him there. Midfield, I think it just picks itself. I think between Højbjerg and Sarr, they will rotate and they will play the 6. So Højbjerg will be the 6, and then Sarr will be the 8, the secondary 8. And Bissouma will be there as well. I think he'll be the third midfielder. I think it's be a hard-working midfielder. And I think between the three of them, they could always interchange. So sometimes Højbjerg's playing the right 8, sometimes Højbjerg's playing the left 8, sometimes Sarr's being the 6, etc., etc. Bissouma, they're all going to interchange at some point. So I just think that gives you a lot more stability. And then the whole debate with Johnson and Kulu, I've even said it myself about putting Kulu on the left and Johnson on the right. However, I do like the look in the last couple of games with Johnson. Like Arsenal, I thought he was good on the left. I thought he was good on the left coming on against Palace. And again, the little time we did see him against Chelsea, I thought he would look like the outball. It wasn't just Kulu being the outball, because Kulu normally is the guy that holds it up for us. I just thought he was another threat in behind and offered us something different, and made the team guess as well. It gave us a different dimension with Johnson on the left and Kulu on the right. And up top, I'd have Son doing what he does. Son did well for me, kind of dropping in that hole, holding on to it. And then I expect one of those players to kind of bomb forward and do a thing like what Porro was doing earlier. Maybe not so much Emerson, because he hasn't really got that in his locker. But I don't mind him doing fake runs to kind of draw players away from another player, because that's what Emerson is able to do at times. He's able to not obviously be good on the ball, but to kind of run without the ball and take defenders away. So that will be my team moving in with Skip probably on the bench. Lo Celso's an option to come off, and I'll bring back Belize as a striker. I'll bring him back. So we've got options on the bench as well as Bentancur. Bentancur will be on the bench.
Get back to Norwich, please.
Yes, but for this game, you need your squad. You need the squad. Skip hasn't been it this season, but I just think like Bentancur coming on, I would prefer Bentancur to come on over Skip. I think Bentancur will be on the bench, and he will make that difference. I know he didn't he played like 30 minutes or 40 minutes. He played last night, so it was quite a lot. I felt he looked decent, to be fair, and he just needs a bit more. I don't want to rush him, so I don't want to start him, and then all of a sudden he can't cope with the pace and gets an injury, and then we're set back again. So that's the other reason why I keep probably Bentancur on the bench and just have Basuma, Højbjerg, and start working that pivot.
Lisa O's asked a great question, and that was going to be that was meant to be the last thing of the night. But would you put? And I'm just thinking about this. If Maddison was injured, would you put Kulu as the number 10, Johnson on the right, and possibly a Brian Hill on the left?
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that.
Yeah, that would be a decent shout.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
It's great because
I wasn't expecting all of you to be agreeing.
Yeah,
no, actually thinking about it, I thought about it. I was like, why is none of us for this?
Shout, man.
Yeah.
Shout.
You know what? I did think of it, but then I was
here we go.
like, no, I was thinking like what Ange would do. I'm thinking, what would Ange do? And I'm like, what I would do and what Ange would do are two different things. And I tried to pick the team that I thought Ange would put out, and I think that's what I went for as well. I didn't think Kulu. I don't think he'll put Kulu as the 10, but I would love to see it. I would love to see an attacking player like.
Because I don't know if he trusts Lo Celso as much as we all thought he would.
Yeah, this is it.
Because even last night, because Lo Celso does work hard. That's one thing I'll always say about Lo Celso. But I just thought he might have tried him instead of Skip last night, just to try and help Son out, because he's gone all attacking. But he brought Skip on, and I'm like, okay,
true.
Just
gratitude.
Yeah,
Gratitude.
Yeah,
of Lo Celso.
And that's
he doesn't get on with people.
No, he really does get some with no one.
Because he's not playing him, is it?
Yeah.
He's probably one of the most skillful footballers we've got at the club. But he doesn't get a look in because it's his attitude and his work rate when he actually gets his chance. You know, all right, some people say he works hard, but not in my book. He doesn't work smart. He just does little cameo things.
When he's playing, he's happier. When he's happy and playing, he's you can see that. Like, I think when he had that run when he played against Southampton in the FA Cup.
Yes,
he's really good.
Yeah. But then he suddenly got injured, and then he's one of them who thinks he should be just kind of in the team, and it don't work like that in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So I see exactly what you're saying.
In training, show your attitude is right.
Absolutely brilliant, Elisa O. Brilliant question. Thank you very much. Before we all go, thank you to everyone in the chat tonight. Thank you to everyone who came over from Savage Stream as well to join us. Like, the chat keeps us going. It actually keeps the show going. So thank you very much, Kyle. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming.
Guy. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. Any social medias that people can follow you on or anything like that?
Yeah, Kyle FR_. Simple. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll follow back.
No problem. Ellie.
I've got my socials as well.
Yeah, it's always been a pleasure.
Spurs are us.
Yeah.
I've got my Spurs are us at Ellie Højbjerg on Twitter, which is doing very well. I've got nearly 2,800 followers now. Not too bad. Not too shabby. Just from January I started that.
Wow.
And I'm on TikTok as well at Spurs Are Us. And then obviously I'm with Kate on Just a Girl Loves Spurs. Come on. Yeah, she's taken me under her wing, and we're doing some great stuff on that channel. We did a show earlier tonight, To Dare Is to Debate. And then we've got another one coming up on Friday. It's all about the banter. So, yeah, and I'm sure we're going to be inviting you guys on very, very soon, you know. So watch this space. I'm sure you're going to get a little message from us coming on our show. Come on, boys. We love you, you know, because you're good lads. You know your football and you love Spurs. That's all you need. Yeah.
Hear that, Ash? Hear that? And by the way, right, I just wanted to address this comment, right, about hashtag free Stel. So the reason why Stel had to subscribe to our channel, where he was already subscribed, but he said, right, so I called out on Sunday, right, and someone else mentioned it. I said Spurs, and I've said it since we played Liverpool, we're going to drop points against Chelsea. No one believed me. Everyone said no, and I said if the emotion gets into the game, as I thought it would, right, with the whole Poch coming back and everything like that, right, and this is why I said it, that Spurs were going to drop points. I said it won't be a disaster, as in we'll drop points, and it won't be like, oh, it's the end of the world. I know we're thinking it is, but I said we'd do it. And Stel said, if that happens, yeah, I'm going to subscribe to your channel. And I was like, well, you ain't subscribed already. But he's not being forced. I told him. But no, that's the reason why. But yeah, Ash, you're back on tomorrow, correct?
Yes. Tomorrow. Marlon has kindly hooked up a Newcastle fan.
Coming on.
Yeah, and so we'll have a little debate for these non-Spurs teams that want to give it to us. So yeah, man, we'll be giving them the smoke. Don't worry about that. Lots of memes, lots of jokes. But yeah, man, that's what we do tomorrow. We give it to the rivals.
And then and then we've got the panel. We've got the preview show on Friday with Haz, TJ, and now Harry. A new lineup, and they'll probably have one extra guest. Go over there, tune in. It is carnage. Now it's carnage with the three of them. 3 different opinions, 3 like completely different. They all hate on each other's opinions. They argue like they're all best mates, but they just don't agree with each other. So it's actually quite good. And the preview show is going to be brilliant because we don't know which players are going to play. And Haz is going to say something stupid, as he always does. Right. So that's Friday about 6-7 o'clock, and then I'll be back Saturday with the match reaction at about, I don't even know what time I go now. I ain't done this for so long, but I'll be back on Saturday. Match reactions about 8 o'clock, and we'll talk about the Wolves and go down with that. But yeah, Ash and I will be back next Tuesday to dissect Wolves and talk about the international break and other guests. But as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you
Come on, you Spurs.